This segment is being brought to you by Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Join us in preserving and protecting Tennessee's wildlife.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Southern Woods and Waters. We will start taking your phone calls here. Area code 615-737-7767. We'll be glad to answer any questions. I do want to give a big shout out to Miss Christy Hale, Tanner Hale from Brown's Florist. If you'll look right here, that's a great little item for a duck hunter, isn't it? It's got a mallard duck here, great greenery. It's got the coontails on here. Do you duck hunt, David?
Yes, I do.
He does too. That's another one of his vices.
Yeah, I've got a lot of vices.
He's got a lot of vices, but that's pretty neat. It'll look good in a doctor's office, especially an audiologist, you know. I wonder if I know one. Great idea. Thank you, Christy and Tanner, for that. Great job on that. I do want to also say these T-shirts are in, ladies and gentlemen. The new Southern Woods and Waters blue teal T-shirts with the Southern Woods and Waters logo on them, and of course, we got our saying on there. It's a Southern thing. I know that offends some. I can't help it. It's just one of those things. But it's a Southern thing. Just like donuts are a Southern thing. I don't know if y'all knew that. We started them. But just check it out. It's on our website. Go to southernwoodsandwaters.com and go on there, and they're all on there. Just order them through there. It'll be great deal. I have with me David Gnewikow. David, I can't say enough about David. David is a true gentleman. And I would like to also say, and I'm going to come out and tell it like it is, I think that the Bible tells us to be bold. And you and I are both big-time Christians, and you put a little daily saying out almost every day. I know you skipped a couple, but almost every day, and I read those. And you really do touch men's lives, David, in knowing that being a follower of Jesus Christ doesn't mean that you're a wimp.
Right.
Everybody thinks that Jesus is being a wimp. No, he wasn't a wimp. He was a man's man. He was a carpenter. He put things together. He didn't use glue, but he was a carpenter.
Well, I'll tell you this. A few years ago, I was having some pretty good success fishing, and I kind of took a step back and I said, why am I doing this? You know, am I doing this? Is this all about me? And if I'm honest, a whole lot of it was about my ego. And I said, you know, I just kind of said, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, then I want to figure out a way to give you some glory with what I do. And so I get all kinds of friend requests on Facebook, and I accept every single one of them. And I just periodically will post, and I post the word. I don't ever post opinion. Nope. I don't ever post politics.
It's straight from the Bible.
If you ever see me post anything religious, it is nothing but Scripture. And it's something that, you know, I try to, my wife and I get up early and spend some time, you know, 10, 15 minutes reading the Bible every morning. And if something touches me, I say, well, if it hit me like that and hit my gut, and I'm going to share it with some of my friends. And
it'll probably hit them too.
So I hope it helps somebody. It helps me.
It helps me. Absolutely. I follow it, brother, and I appreciate that very much. And you know, guys, we just got to get out there and, you know, be bold about it. But I think as Christians, and we need to be examples, Steve, Chris, to our young. You and I, we all three talked about that with Matt today, how it's so important to bring these youngsters up in an environment that we can train them and teach them. I told you the truth. I will not carry a kid just to go shoot a gun at a deer. You owe that deer a lot more than just teaching a kid how to pull a trigger.
Right.
That kid needs to know, what does it take to take that life? What does it mean to take that life? What responsibilities do I have in taking that life? And it's all biblically based. You know that. We were put here to be wardens of the wildlife.
Right.
So it's up to us, and I firmly believe that, and it's up to us to train these kids. And Steve, you and I talked about more and more kids are raised by single parent families, and you guys are wanting to make a difference. Dunkin Donuts wants to make a difference. And that's why I am so on board with this, is that these kids need to be raised the right way. And the right way being, let's get them off of this and get them with binocular looking out there for gargantuous buckus whitetailers,
Right.
you know, and stuff like that.
Right.
It's about spending time with the kids. There's no doubt about it. At my house with my family, I have 4 kids, and we sit around the dinner table probably for about an hour every night and just talk about stories about what's going on in their life, what's important to them, kind of guide them in the direction that they need the guidance to go in, because as you know, there's a lot of peer pressure out there, and there's a lot of things out there for kids that is not good. And you know, the peer pressure, I think, even gets stronger with the, you know, all of the devices that they have, whether it's an iPhone or an iPad or whatever it is. And there are a lot of ideas out there that you want to make sure they understand really, you know, what's going on, and what, you know, where to be grounded, and how to be humble, and how to follow the right direction.
And kids need a safe place.
Absolutely.
I say that all the time. It's hard to go through school with bully pressure or peer pressure or student pressure or teacher pressure or daily pressure. When they come home, that needs to be a safe haven. That needs to be home. I feel good here. I feel safe here. And if you'll do things together, I think that just multiplies.
When I was a kid, all of the serious...
You were already at Jeremy Etheridge's house.
No, I wasn't there till I was in college, but when I was a kid, all of the serious talks that I ever had with my dad, whether it was about sex or church or family or money, was on the way to the lake or on the way to go hunting. And I've tried to do that with my son too, you know. He wants to be doing this too, but I'm like, it's time to put it down. You know, that's a really good time to talk to kids, and even psychologists will tell you this. It's hard for me to sit down with my 12-year-old son and look him in the eye. When you're driving that car, there's not as much pressure. No. You know, he's sitting next to you, and we've had some great conversations driving to the lake for a couple hours, or going in the deer stand, you know, that type of stuff. So, man, I think it's huge. I think this is a really good outlet for parents and even just mentors, not even necessarily parents, to get kids involved and talk to them about real stuff.
I want to ask this whole board here, if you were on the advisory committee, and I'll put you there, you're there. If you had a single parent family, and usually it's the woman that raises the children, what would you suggest? What could we do? You know, I know, David, you have your own kids, but what do you think extra, and Chris, you do too, what extra could we do to maybe take and relieve a little bit of that pressure?
Well, I know John Hopkins out at Fate Sanders does a kids fishing event every year.
We do that.
I want to say it's in May. I didn't get out there this year, but I mean, that's a great opportunity. He invites everybody that
he makes them all kiss the fish. Everyone that catches the fish has got to kiss.
And I mean, John loves that, and it's so. I mean, that's an awesome thing. I'm involved with a group at Brentwood Hills Church of Christ called Back 40 Outreach, and we've taken some, and I'm not as involved as I used to be, but we've taken some inner city kids fishing for a day, you know, take them out to a pond. I'm doing that with some kids at my church, you know, just trying to, and I mean, that's not, honestly, I don't have a lot of time, and I feel guilty I don't have more, but you know, just a few hours makes a big difference, I think.
Don't you feel better, though, when you come away from that, David?
I do, and I hate to say I don't want to do it to feel better about myself, but when you're serving somebody else, you always feel better about your problems don't mean as much when you're helping somebody else.
But I'm going to tell you, Steve, do you not agree? Doesn't it feel good to get the warm and fuzzies?
It definitely does. I think everybody likes that.
And I get the warm and fuzzies
Absolutely.
when I help kids.
Absolutely.
Right. Yep.
You know, and even if you help adults, because you're helping the moms out there with their children, you know, give them a little break, for crying out loud. Right. You know, give them a little break. And I don't want to deal with the little boy's testosterone level, you know, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, you're giving her a break. So, hey, we got a phone caller here. Let's go to Jim. Jim, how can we help you tonight?
Yes, you know, I've been shooting and hunting since I was a kid, and I'd like to know what would be a good something to reduce the echo or the blast of a gun while hunting in the field, but yet that you could hear things happening like a deer walking through the fields or the woods, and I know that hearing loss, a lot of that is due to a lot of us sportsmen out the range, shooting, skeeting, and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering if someone had an answer for me for that.
Thank you very much, Jim. If you'll hang on just a minute, we're going to let David, because I know you got the answer.
Do you want me to change to my doctor hat real quick?
Turn around, put the MD up there.
Yeah, Jim, a couple of things. Damaging your hearing is about how loud it is multiplied by how many times you do it. Now, I hope none of my audiologist friends are watching, because I'm going to say if you shoot at a deer one time a year with a rifle, unless it's super loud, you're probably not doing serious damage. What does damage is that repeated exposure to sound. Shooting skeet, duck hunting, dove hunting, quail hunting. You know, duck hunting is the worst because it's that other guy's barrel that gets you. You've been in a pit or a blind.
Oh, yeah.
And so here's the very best thing you can do. Now, I don't know all the products out there. In my practice, I sell a product that's called a sound scope, and I use them myself. I got some for my son. They are basically hearing aids that fit, they seal the ear, but they use a battery just like a hearing aid would. When I shoot the gun, it shuts off. But if I'm out on the skeet range, my son and I have been out at Cedar City Gun Club shooting a bunch this year. You know, you can talk, you can carry on a normal conversation, especially in that duck blind or pit. That's where it's really critical, because again, I might shoot at a duck 3 times, but it's that other guy's barrel that really gets my hearing. And a lot of people don't know, all the sound comes from the barrel, so it's your proximity to the barrel. So if you want to look at my website, it's called www.hearlife.org. I've got some contact information on there. You could shoot me an email. I'd be glad to explain all that to you. But there's several products out there, and I'm not trying to push my personal services. I know Walker's Game Ear makes a product. I'm not real familiar with it, but they're products that amplify, but they shut off when you shoot a gun. And again, especially the more times you're shooting at the range, dove hunting, I mean, even deer hunting, I recommend it, but I won't yell at somebody too bad if they shoot that big buck and don't put the earplugs in first. I hope that helps.
We do too. I hope that helps everybody. Next, we got to go do our tip of the week. And I have asked Dr. Gnewikow here to give us a great tip. And the one I suggested was, how do you walk the dog and eat a Dunkin Donut at the same time? But you got one you said you want to use. So.
I do have one. We were talking about throwing a topwater, and I was talking about throwing a Strike King sexy dog. But there's lots of them. I mean, again, that's my favorite, but you got your Zara Spooks and you got your Sammys and all of that. I hate giving away my secrets. Can we cut?
No.
All right, now I'll give away my secret. On the tip of that bait where you tie your line, put a split ring. A split ring, you guys know, you just take a pair of pliers, put a split ring on there. What that does is when you twitch that bait, it lets it move a lot more. And it makes it so much easier to walk the dog. I fished this tournament last week, and I'm sitting there just twitching away. My bait's just walking along just beautifully. My co-owner's like, how come I can't get mine to do that? And I said, try putting a split ring on there. And he did, and he was just able to walk it much, much easier. So take your walking baits. I mean, just a little split ring on there will make a big difference in how easy that is to walk. I can't believe I just gave away that secret.
I am going home and do that.
It works. I'm telling you.
I'm going to do mine like that. I'm going to have to do Joy's first, though. I got news for you. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, boy, they got a recipe for you tonight. Dove season is in full bloom. They got a recipe for your dove. Hurry back to more Southern Woods Waters.